Our next presentation is on building a sustainable island state through strategic movement. And assisting us to do this via Zoom is the Ministry of Sustainable Development Minister Joyelle Clarke. The Honourable Senator Dr. Joyelle Clarke, Minister of Sustainable Development, Environment and Climate Action and Constituency Empowerment, is easily described as a climate action advocate, defender of youth involvement in decision making, and a climate and gender justice specialist. Professionally, she became one of the youngest females to become a director of a government office, the Department of Constituency Empowerment, in 2012. Shortly thereafter, Dr. Joyelle Clarke worked as an educator, bridging her passion for the environment and youth together under the banner of one of the strongest youth-led environment programs in St. Kitts and Nevis. Dr. Clarke has been involved in social impact assessments and sustainable livelihood research for over 15 years. During this time, she has led projects on livelihood transition, conducted research, and developed programs in various capacities as a government official and community activist. And she's joining us via Zoom today. Minister Joyelle, are you with us?
Greetings, I'm here.
Yes, the stage is yours.
Thank you so much for the honor to participate in this very critical convening, albeit virtually. I must begin by greeting the Honourable Prime Minister and Premier of St. Kitts, and Honourable Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis, and the Premier of the island of Nevis, as well as my other distinguished cabinet colleagues and the other distinguished members of the host country for the government of Nigeria. The presentation that I'm about to make will focus primarily on our vision to become a sustainable island state. So for St. Kitts and Nevis, and I'll start by sharing my screen here. If I'm allowed to share screen, that would be excellent. So for St. Kitts and Nevis, we made the decision, our federation made the decision just about 2022 when Prime Minister assumed leadership of our country. And it was a very revolutionary and transformative decision to make St. Kitts and Nevis a sustainable island state based on sustainability, environmental stewardship, and climate resilience. It was fueled by our government's decision that if we were to actualize a future based on resilience, based on independence, based on sustainability, that there needed to be serious global shifts which were aligned with the Sustainable Development Goals. So the vision was presented. The question here is, what does it mean for St. Kitts and Nevis as a sustainable island state? And this is based for us on 7 transformative pillars. I have sent a request to the technical team to share my screen. I think the presentation would be so much more rich with the video. However, I will continue. It's based on 7 transformative pillars, primarily energy transition, water security, food security, sustainable investments and industry, sustainable settlements, the circular economy, and of course, health and social protection. Importantly, to make this transformative change, to ensure that our people are protected, that their livelihoods are protected, requires serious investment. So the question has always been, what do we need to realize this ambition? And it's not a simple equation, but it is an ambitious equation. To achieve this vision, we need partnership. We need public and private investment. We need opportunity to innovate through innovative financing infrastructure in particular. And most importantly, we need the people of St. Kitts and Nevis and our global community to be in partnership with us. When the government presented its vision to the nation, naturally our first question would have been, why now? Why sustainability? And how do we do this considering changing climate, changing geopolitical situations? And of course, it was just on the heels of the COVID-19 crisis. recognizing that transforming your economy, especially an economy that is tied to external events, that is exposed to existential threats, an economy that is described as high-income economy, although that's not necessarily the truth on the ground, presented serious challenges. And that's where the need for innovative financing opportunities and solutions have been presented to us. So through our 7-pillar approach, we're hoping to connect and interconnect sectors. The Minister of Energy has oftentimes said to us that because of small size, we just 50,000 on CND to present a model of sustainability that works. Here, it's based on green financing. It's based on equitable access to opportunity. It's based on small business development through connecting with initiatives such as the Global Green Growth Institute. Digital infrastructure, opening new opportunities for entrepreneurship, and of course, ensuring that our generation and the next generation is plugged into the endless possibilities of the global digital economy, where the world runs solely on technology and artificial intelligence. Our intention is to leave no competition behind, which means social protection and health has to be integrated into our transition for sustainability. Importantly, the Sustainable Island State Agenda, it cannot exist without policy, without legislation, and importantly, without political will. And that's where St. Kitts and Nevis, as is demonstrated even here today by the members of our cabinet and the Nevis Island administration that are there with you. And I'm certain the conversations that have been had around geothermal energy, around connectivity, and around partnership, that there must be political will to ensure the Sustainable Island State Agenda advances and works for our people. We also recognize that, I'm just going to check if I can share my screen. Yes, I can. So we also recognize here that, and I'll just advance to the pillars that we have presented so that you have the benefit of what we're talking about in terms of energy transition, the water security, food security, sustainable industries, sustainable settlements, circular economy, and health and social protection. For St. Kitts and Nevis, our Sustainable Island State Agenda is premised on people, their livelihoods, their protection, and how we ensure that they can survive generations after generations. The blueprint for sustainability outlines our attempt to mobilize resources to align and connect our own ambitions for sustainability, for advancing the renewable energy sector with what connects with the sustainable development goals. Importantly, as I mentioned, partnerships are key, and here's where public-private partnerships come into play, the green growth financing, connecting different sectors, and energy transition and investment. I'll take some time to focus on energy transition, and I'm certain the conversation around energy has been buzzing right there in Nigeria. So if we are to achieve a sustainable island state, and if we are to solve key challenges such as water security, let's say through desalination powered by renewable energy, agricultural investment, and I'm sure the Minister of Agriculture in his panel presentation would have referenced this. There needs to be reliable energy. Additionally, if there is to be solutions in the powering the manufacturing sector, we need reliable energy. And we are looking towards our flagship initiative, which is geothermal energy development on the island of Nevis, deeply connected with St. Kitts and with the possibilities of connecting the Eastern Caribbean. Of course, the investment priority here requires serious consideration of funding to back geothermal investment, back transition in solar energy, solar PV, or other opportunities in wind, in offshore, or even other green hydrogen, for example. But we've made some key achievements and advancements here in St. Kitts and Nevis in terms of upgrading the energy infrastructure and managing the cost of energy, our ongoing investments in solar renewable projects with the intention of the constructing 50 megawatt solar plant with battery storage. Of course, we know about the geothermal and hydrogen investments that have been done in partnership with regional financiers and the Green Climate Fund. The intentions around grid modernization, electric vehicle transition has all been done with partnership, regional partnership, and international investment. If this is to continue, as I mentioned, the public-private partnership, de-risking some of the investments in the energy sector are going to be critical. As mentioned before, our CISA agenda, Sustainable Island State agenda, is closely aligned with our Sustainable Development Goals and our intention to achieve most of these goals by 2040, which is the global milestone. We also aligned our Sustainable Island State agenda with the key National Development Planning Framework, and this provides an outline or a blueprint for each sector, for each investor in terms of what are the key tenets of development, what are our aspirations, and how we ensure that not just planet, but people are protected in our transitions and our ambitions. While I won't go through each of these, I'm just here outlining how in each SDG and the key indicators, St. Kitts and Nevis has projects closely aligned with the SDGs. So in terms of no poverty, our investments in housing, in terms of good health and well-being, Prime Minister, I'm sure, would have mentioned our initiatives for our climate smart hospital, which are well advanced. The investments in the health sector, in transitioning health provision and community-based healthcare are tenets of SDG 3, good health and well-being. We continue with affordable and clean energy, as I just recently outlined, with geothermal and investments in solar PV, ensuring that we are working towards digitizing some of our services, which is the National Addressing System, which is also very advanced in partnership with the Republic of China and Taiwan. Working towards reducing inequalities is something that we have also been pushing through the Ministry of Social Development, where we're have prioritized senior care, aging with dignity, and ensuring that there is no one left behind and that there is no one who falls through the gap because a social program does not protect them. Importantly, around the environmental agenda, life below water and climate action and sustainable communities, in about 4 days, St. Kitts and Nevis would officially ban single-use plastics here. We are making these serious commitments not just to our regional and international agenda, but a recognition that if we are to become a sustainable island state, then our small island must do its part to protect our environment and to transition our economy. So mainly the reason why I'm not able to join you in Nigeria, but hopefully I would get an opportunity to do so. The ministry is leading a series of national conversations with stakeholders, with everyone from the restaurant industry, the hotel industry, our bakers, our supermarket owners, our small community shops, to ensure that the transition happens equitably, that no one has any undue stress in terms of accessing the resources to transition, and much of this required face-to-face conversation to engage, to understand their challenges and their burdens. But we are making single-use plastics a thing of the past here in St. Kitts and Nevis. And finally, with the peace, justice, and strong institutions, when we assumed the government of St. Kitts and Nevis, or the administration, in 2022, we made a serious commitment to the good governance agenda, and part of it was having strong supportive legislation and policy frameworks that allowed for equity, inclusivity, and protection, not just of people, but planet. And just last week, we passed the plastic waste reduction bill, which was supported by both sides of our government. Another clear indication of good governance being being an ambition, not just of the government, but of the opposition. Of course, if we are to make St. Kitts and Nevis a sustainable island state, we have to use every opportunity to promote our own sustainability agenda, to share experiences and share knowledge with other island nations. And as such, we are hosting the Global Sustainable Island Summit in St. Kitts and Nevis, May 27th to 29th. We have invited island nations from across the world to convene on our island to share their own innovation, their experiences, their best practices, and to have serious technical and practical conversations about investment. The summit also includes a geothermal summit on Nevis, which will be hosted by the Honourable Premier and jointly by the Minister of Energy, another indication of partnerships for sustainable development. And we are showcasing to the world what investments in geothermal can do, not just for our islands, but also for connectivity across the Eastern Caribbean. Our next steps towards 2040, as I wrap my presentation, is to ensure that we can mobilize resources for climate adaptation and for resilience. It means that we have to raise visibility of St. Kitts and Nevis and our own national vision. As such, this presentation here at the Afro-Caribbean Investment Summit is so critical. The opportunity to occupy some space, to share what our ambitions are and how we intend to do this collectively with global partnership has been truly an honor, not just for me and my ministry, but I'm certain for the entire government. Now, CISA for us serves as a communication and public relations engine for our sustainability effort. We want, when people think of St. Kitts and Nevis, they think of sustainability and sustainable island state agenda, not just for us, but the fact that this can be a model that can be replicated across the region and across island nations in the Pacific, in Europe, etc. We intend to align all of our existing projects under the banner of Sustainable Island State, and this has been an active engagement, not just with government and parliamentarians, but with our technocrats, with our regional partners, and of course, as granular as with our budgeting process, where every permanent secretary who presents to our government or cabinet, rather, their intentions for their budgeting year presents it along the lines of investments in sustainability, climate adaptation, and resilience. Ensure that it deals with climate adaptation, sustainability, and resilience. Thank you so much.